Welcome to another match I'm going to be doing commentary on for Summoner Wars 2nd Edition. And I've done a series of videos leading up to this point where I covered some matches that I played in the Plaid Hat Games tournament with the release of the Avians and the Cloaks. So I covered some matches I played in the earlier rounds of that tournament. And this is all leading up to this match. This is the grand finals. So yeah, the finals is me against SIP. SIP is a player I had never played against at this point. Um, but very strong player, and one that has had quite a meteoric rise since they've started participating in the league and tournaments a few months ago. Yeah, I think SIP's gotten like the top spot in each division and has climbed all the way up to Division 1 very quickly. Yeah, so right now, as of now, it is in Division 1, and actually, even in fact, they beat me in the CB3 tournament grand finals as well, which took place after this match. But yeah, very strong player, so I thought this would be a good match to cover. Now, the format of the finals was that it was just a one match winners take all format, and we each ordered our faction picks from top pick to bottom pick, and we actually both got our top pick in this matchup. So yeah, I picked Savanna Elves, and SIP picked Polar Dwarves. Yeah, and actually in the tournament, I think there was one match that I lost, and it was actually in this matchup. I lost with my Savanna Elves to Polar Dwarves, and yeah, that's they're probably each other's worst matchup, I guess you could say. They're the two best factions, I believe, and so I think it's fitting that we both picked them in the finals. Um, yeah, I feel like it's a pretty balanced matchup overall. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so my approach as Savannah Elves in this matchup, the first thing I like to do is to just play range game, and because I feel that Savannah Elves have a stronger range game than Polar Dwarves, even though they both have very strong range games. But yeah, I think it's kind of on Polar Dwarves to kind of close the distance and march up the board, and but he's gonna lose some resources along the way. So, but yeah, I don't really like to play this one too aggressive. So I'll just hang back. That's kind of my first approach. Now the other thing to really go into here is my gate placement. I mean, there's so much strategy behind gate placement, and there's a lot to talk about with that really. So in this match, like typically I'll put a gate over. I'll put my cursor here on A2 or A3 or B3. Those are like pretty commonly where I'll put them, and they each position leads to very different types of matches. But in general, placing the gate on the left side of the board is contesting the left side, and it's kind of strengthening the area of the board where Abuashi has a lot of maneuverability in that area, and that's typically where Polar Dwarves is going to be advancing towards. But I had a different idea in this match where I thought, oh, maybe I'll put the gate on the right side of the board. And my idea here was that typically you'll see Polar Dwarves will put like an ice column to the right of the Frost Mage, or like a structure there, and I really wanted to find a way to punish that, or to contest that. So I thought maybe a gate on the right side. I can push a unit up on the right, like a Rhino, to fight it. I can move a Bua up 2 spaces and attack an ice golem potentially. So I thought that might be a good way around the typical Polar Dwarves playstyle. But yeah, that's what's so great about this game, is that every gate placement matters so much, and it changes the dynamic of the game so much. That's what's really interesting about it. So yeah, I wasn't too sure how the strategy was going to work out because I hadn't experimented with it before. But yeah, I think the downside for me is that on the right side of the board, I'm a little bit more constricted in my movement. There's a little less room to work with, whereas Polar Dwarves have a little bit more room. But yeah, I thought it'd be an interesting try to see how this one panned out. All right, let's resume the game. Get some decent hits in on that Frost Mage. Pretty good start. And I ended up discarding everything but my Chant of Power, and I feel like it doesn't matter much what you discard early. Like pretty much every card is kind of equally good here against the Polar Dwarves. They all work pretty well. So I just like to, get some discards out of the way early so I can, get a champion, get Makendaru going, because Makenda's very good at playing the range game here. But yeah, keeping the Chant of Power I think is important because it can potentially get you a lot of gains in the right situation. Okay, so my opponent does have an Ice Golem to start out with, and yeah, this is interesting. So, yeah, placing the Ice Golem outside of that lane, that I was just talking about. So not putting the Ice Golem next to that starting Frost Mage, which you kind of typically see. But yeah, so I feel like in some sense my strategy has kind of worked here and has discouraged him from doing that, and to forced him to play in a different way. So yeah, and I kind of prefer this because now the Polar Dwarves have to take a slower advance forward in their current position. And I guess also it means that their starting Frost Mage may not have 4 attacks now, whereas before the Frost Mage could potentially one-hit kill my Archer with 4 attacks. So yeah, I kind of like how that turned out. And now I start to employ a strategy I use a lot as Obuashi, and that's to put a Rhino in the back and start beefing it up. We're just going to start accumulating boosts here in the back and build up some good units. So I even used a Chance of Growth to start getting some boosts on these Lionesses and the Rhino and even Abua. So yeah, so the Rhino and the Lioness together with like an Entangle is a very good combination. So yeah, I'm hoping to get an Entangle soon and to use that on both of them and to really let them spring into the match. So that's one common strategy I use a lot. And I didn't put the Rhino up against the Frost Mage only because I didn't have enough movements really to do it. Because I wanted to, if I did that, I probably would have wanted to trample the Frost Mage to really make it worth it. And maybe you could argue I could have held on to that Chant of Growth a little longer. I don't have to use it now, but I wanted to do that to cycle through my hand faster, maybe draw an Entangle sooner, and so on. And to analyze the gate placement on the left side, that I really put the gate on that position on the left as really like a fallback strategy. Like if they manage to take down my gate on the right side, I really just want to move the fight over to the left side of the board and just retreat from the right, because once the right side gets taken over, I don't really want to be fighting from that area because it's not like the optimal place to be. I feel like on the left side of the board where I have more room to work with is where I want to be. So yeah, that's just a retreat strategy in the long term. Okay, and now the Ice Golem ending up in the position where I kind of was saying that's what I'm trying to counter. That's the whole point of my setup right now. So I was kind of happy to see that. Also happy to see that Savanna actually kind of blocked her own positioning. Like normally, this is what's interesting actually. Savanna normally doesn't want to like block up the summoning points of the Ice Golem, but you will see on the next turn there actually is a very clear point to why Savanna is placed there. Yeah, well, I guess we'll get to that soon. But it was at this point in the match that I felt I made a very big and clear mistake on my end, and I kind of ruined what I had set up to this point. Like I missed a very important opportunity here to take advantage of the position. So let's see what I did. Okay, so I end up dumping a lot of boosts onto this Border Archer to use Chance of Power, and in order to get a kill on this Ice Golem. Now it does get the kill on the Ice Golem, okay, that's fine, but what I could have done instead is not use, I mean I used a lot of resources to do that, especially just in terms of the boosts, right, whereas I could have just sent a Rhino up on the right side of the board, which I think would have been a much better play, and save my Chance of Power for later, save my boosts for something else. And now, while that's not the most likely to kill the Ice Golem, it would have definitely, either killed or brought him down to low health. And it actually would have put me in a decent position too, because the Rhino moving up to a position where it can't be counterattacked very easily. And I really love positions where you get the rhino up in the front and the archers shooting from the back, and it really forces them to focus on the rhino while not really focusing much attention on your archer. So it really preserves their life. And he actually, because he put Savanna in that position, it would have been hard for him to really counterattack my rhino. And I think looking back, I realized why I did the Chant of Power, because I was afraid that he was going to use the Frost Axe from the Ice Smith to boost something and then kill my rhino in like one easy hit. But now I realize that Savanna is blocking the summoning point, so he couldn't have really done that. But yeah, that's one of the regrets I have here. Okay, so now we get to see the point of why he placed Savanna in that position before. It was in order to get up here on the right and get a parapet up pretty far forward. So yeah, it was really just to set up this parapet position, which is pretty nice actually. And so yeah, now if I had on the previous turn, if I had put a rhino up there, it would have slowed all of this down tremendously. So yeah, it just feels like it was a big mistake now. Yeah, now this allows his Frost Mage to get up to 4 attack. He gets a 4 out of 4 on my Border Archer, which was just huge. That was just a major loss. Losing that Border Archer with all those boosts, which maybe could have potentially used Chant of Power again or something with all those boosts. Yeah, huge loss. Now I get to employ the strategy I was talking about earlier, using Chant of Entangling on the Rhino and the Lioness. One of my favorite entanglement combos. I really like that you get to bring the Lioness in the game, because otherwise it's just kind of sitting there in a bad position. Needs a lot of movement to get into a good position. But yeah, this helps the Lioness get in a decent position, but also I like that the Rhino gets that extra phantom health. Yeah, just a good entangle overall. And I'm also positioning my units in a way that I try to avoid the line of fire of the Frost Mage. You got to go after the Ice Golems. Like before the last turn I went hard on the Ice Golem. This turn I'm going hard on the Ice Golem. That's just what I do. I mean, those Ice Golems are the heart of Polar Dwarves. You got to take them out when you can. It depowers the Frost Mages. It depowers the Ice Ram. Just depowers everything. Okay, now we get the Ice Ram coming out. Yeah, unfortunately I took out the previous Ice Column, because if I hadn't, that's where these Ice Ram turns get even crazier. So this at least helps make it a little less crazy. Yeah, really, every time you get this Ice Ram Glacial Shift, it just changes the whole layout of the board, so we'll have to reevaluate the position after. Yeah, he nearly took out all my units. Luckily, my Rhinos left with 1 HP, as they often are, and that's really why Rhinos are so good with a lot of boosts. It's just when they're left alive, they can still do tons of damage with a pile of boosts on them. Like now, I can get up here and kill this Ice Smith in the back. I just love the Rhino so much. And okay, once again, going hard on this Ice Golem. Got to get every Ice Golem kill while we can. Especially, we haven't seen like Ice Repair. You don't want Polar Dwarves getting a lot of value out of their Ice Repair event and healing those golems. So yeah, you just want to kill them as fast as possible. Okay, now if I evaluate this position, I feel like, okay, I can finally abandon the right side of the board for the most part. Maybe I'll clean up a little bit on the right and then kind of head back to the left, I guess is how I think of it. But yeah, at least I feel like somewhat mission accomplished. I slowed him down. But yeah, I am kind of surprised he hasn't been able to like advance all the way forward, but he's able to play a very strong match still without getting very close. So I was kind of surprised at that. Um, yeah, I guess I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup here. Try to take out some stragglers here on the right, and I'm focusing on attack on this gate. I don't want to just put 2 dice on Savanna just going after the summoner. Like I'd rather get an actual kill on this gate, so it can't be healed, and so that he can't start boosting some frost mages with it. And I whiffed really big. That was a bad miss. But I guess at this point you kind of get to see why earlier I placed the gate in that position on the left, because I feel like in the long term, eventually the fight's gonna get to this zone, right? So it's just, I guess, after you play a lot of matches, you kind of know what zones the fight will kind of go to, and that's kind of the point of that gate, I guess. He gets a pretty nice turn here with the bear and the ice golem. This was not expected. I didn't think he would have an easy way of killing my lioness there, but he found a good way to kill the lioness. That was a big loss too, and nearly killed the lion or the rhino while he's at it. But yeah, it leaves his ice golem exposed, but the bear's in a nice position to stay alive again. So yeah, let's see if I'm able to focus fire on the ice golem yet again. That's kind of been the theme here. Okay, great start. Can he finish? And the archer finishes it off. Now we're going to try to get this parapet. Good start on the parapet. Now at this point I was thinking, okay, I think his last ice golem is all the way in the back. So I was pretty happy that the ice golem is way out of the fight. He does have the one Ice Ram Glacial Shift, but with the other ice golems gone, it's not nearly as terrifying. It does feel like I'm a little bit behind on the economy because I lost because of that earlier mistake I made. I feel like that kind of shifted things into his favor. So I guess I'm probably looking for ways to get a champion out soon. I haven't got a champion drawn yet. Maybe I can get some big things going with the champion now. Yeah, I guess I do have 7 magic. Yeah, he makes it puts his units in a nice position here. The bear is in a position that's going to be difficult to kill without exposing my units. Stacking those units right behind my gate, which is always very hard to deal with. Now I really did like this move from Polar Dwarves because it it makes full use of Savanna. Savanna has a lot of health, and it looks like it's a good time to put her in the game, to really squeeze out every bit of this good this good position as you can, not have to summon extra units to do this. But it did leave Savanna exposed. So yeah, let's see if I can punish her for that. So yeah, I have the deadly combo of Entangling and Chant of Power, and Chant of Growth, so you can get a lot of boosts. You can entangle with the Border Archer, get 2 attacks, and do it with Chant of Power to get the extra power. Okay, so I try to come up with the deadliest combo I can, and I felt like I was incredibly fortunate here to have the Spirit Mage Border Archer combo with Chant of Entangling. Let's see how much damage we can do. Okay, 7 attack, 6 attack. Now I'm gonna kill my own Spirit Mage to open up another line of fire. Shoot Savanna again with another 4 attack. And that ended the game. So the very first time Savanna peeks her head out, I just happened to have the best hand you could ask for in that situation to do ridiculous damage down one lane like that. Man, this demonstrates just how scary Savanna Elves can be to go up against. Like, they can just throw out a combo like that out of nowhere and just take you out unexpectedly. But I wanted to rewind a bit just to let's just go over that combo a little bit in detail. So the main thing I wanted to touch on is if you're ever considering like how to get the most out of entangling and the chance of power combo, having both of those in your hand, I do feel like the Spirit Mage plus the Border Archer, entangling those two together is like the most efficient combo if you want to use chance of power if you put chance of power on the Spirit Mage when you do this. And that's because you're generating a lot of attack for very few resources. I think if you really like math it out, it's you're getting the most attack for the least amount of resources. Like so you literally start the turn with like no boosts, and suddenly Spirit Mage starts with one boost. He can boost himself. Abua can put another boost on, and suddenly he's already at high attack without having to invest that many boosts to boost his attack. Oh, and the Spirit Mage already has a base attack higher than like the Border Archer, so yeah, his base attack is already 3, which is good. Yeah, the only thing scarier really is like the Lioness entangling with the Border Archer and doing the chance of power on the Lioness. Yeah, because the Lioness would have to usually start with a lot of boosts for it to be scary in that sense, and you also know that it's coming because the Lioness is going to be having a lot of boosts on the board. You know its range. You know it. You know when that's coming. But the one with the Spirit Mage is so unpredictable. Yeah, Spirit Mage just has good range. You could just summon it and just get surprise attacked out of nowhere. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this out one more time. And I'm pretty certain if I didn't draw this perfect hand at the end, I don't think I would have been able to win in the end. I'm not sure that my champions would have been enough to bring this back. I was kind of dreaming of maybe discarding a lot of stuff and just going for like a crazy two champion strategy in the end, but I don't even know if that would have been enough. Yeah, this was just really well played from SIP. Some good Polar Dwarfs play without even having to go heavy on the Ice Ram Glacial Shift. I hope you enjoyed watching this, got something out of it, and I hope to do more videos in the future, maybe some different types of videos soon. So thank you and stay tuned. All right.